Hey everyone, in today's video, I bought my dream speakers. That's right, ever since being bitten by the Magnepan bug, I've always wanted a pair of MG3 series speakers, specifically with the ribbon tweeter. And I found these on Facebook Marketplace a month or two ago, and got them for $2,000. But guess what? They're already broken. So we're going to talk about that, why I'm in this position, and what I think of these speakers in general. Who's out there, big guy? Who's out there? No one? Okay. Many of you know this channel was started when I decided to rebuild a pair of Magnepan MG1 speakers that I purchased broken. After I fixed and sold those, I came across these MG2s, which you see on your left. I've been using those MG2s as my main speakers for the past few years now, and I have it next to my new MG 3.6R for comparison. These two speakers are nearly 30 years apart in manufacture date, with these guys being January of 2002. And they still to this day use the same technology, with one exception with these MG 3.6Rs. These have ribbon tweeters, and I'll show you those from behind in just a minute here. And that ribbon tweeter gives this speaker the ability to produce frequencies up at the top of the human hearing range. These very old MG2s, the original Magnepans, they can't quite get above 15 kilohertz, which many of us can hear above, including myself. Let's take a look now at how far we've come in this technology. I'll show you the differences right now. So each of these speakers is about 6 feet tall, and they still use a Mylar diaphragm bolted to a frame that's got wire running across it. And these two little trim pieces right here, they actually denote the area in which the diaphragm exists. Like, this is the part that actually sound is coming out of, whereas this is just kind of dead space, if you will. Of course, it has acoustic properties for making this work, but for all intents and purposes, there's no speaker behind this. This is just solid, whereas right here, you've got actual speaker. This one's a little bit different. I'm sure there's a little bit of area on either side here, but basically all of this is base wire and then mid wire right through here, which is a little bit lighter of a gauge. It's kind of cool actually. As I shine this light right here, you see those kind of orangish vertical lines? That is your base wire going through here. And you can see it goes almost the entire extent of this grill cloth here. And then as we move this way, it kind of goes away, but if you look more closely, you can actually see some red wires in there, kind of like a red-orange tint to them. That is your mid wire. It is a smaller gauge wire than your base wire over here. But what's back here? Back here is what you call the ribbon tweeter. You can actually see it as I shine my light through there. This is everything. This is the reason I wanted these speakers. If I take you around back, there it is. The Magnepan Magneplanar ribbon tweeter. So this is just a super thin piece of metal going the entire height of the speaker. So all of this is generating your high frequency noises. So that is pretty freaking cool, if you ask me. These speakers also come with a crossover. You can bi-amp them if you want. I'm not doing that. You can also put a tweeter attenuator in the back. Mine did not come with that, but I plan on buying some and trying it out. But yeah, these are the MG 3.6Rs, manufactured in January of 2002. Quite a bit different from the original MG2s here. As you can see, the MG2, we've got our treble wire or tweeter wire right here. It's a really thin gauge, kind of tough to see. But then over here, you've got all base wire. No ribbon tweeter. Now obviously we've got some mechanical differences since these original 1970s models. Gone are the visible screws that strip out on the side here. We now have a bunch of probably machine screws back here that are all along the back here. So much different construction, much higher quality. These are also a lot heavier as well than these MG2s. The MG2s are pretty light, actually. And of course the base is quite different. The MG2s have this one-piece solid base, and they also have kind of an angle to them if you look vertically, whereas these just have two legs, and they stand the speaker up straight, so you can see as we go up, that speaker is definitely sitting at a slight angle. But of course you're wondering, how do they sound? I'll show you. Now, there's a reason I'm not using my lavalier mic for this. It's because the camera mic is simply just going to do a better job of taking this in. And it's also a stereo microphone, so for whatever it's worth, you know, I've listened to recordings of really good speakers on YouTube and stuff, and yeah, of course, you're never going to hear the real thing, but sometimes you can tell just by listening that, like, yeah, that's a really good speaker. So I'm just going to play this for you. Everyone's favorite song. Yeah, it sounds great. That no EQ, no subwoofer, that's just the Magnepans, and the Marantz set to flat with the loudness turned on. So, pretty awesome, right? And obviously the high end is going to be the biggest difference between the original MG2 and these. It creates an effect for me that I'm very happy with, and I really enjoy listening to these and really like the sound of them quite a bit. I still do prefer to use my subwoofer when I'm cranking them up very loud, because I still think it's best to kind of take the low bass load off of these panels and just hand that over to a dedicated subwoofer, and that can give you an improvement in sound, in my opinion. But like I said, they're broken, and I could have found out about this before I bought them, but I did not. I didn't do my due diligence here. So did I get scammed? Maybe, but probably not. And I'm going to show you what I should have done with these speakers right now. What I've got is our handy dandy tone generator app that we always use when we're testing equipment, right? There we go. Thank you for focusing, camera. So what this allows us to do is just play any frequency we want, really, in sine wave or whatever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the sound on, and I'm just going to kind of walk through the lower sine waves right here. So let's get a start at like 237. That hum, or whatever you want to call it, but now let's come down. Hear that? There's some buzzing coming from the one speaker. Let's keep going lower. And there, the right speaker is making that noise at about 129. And that again is a sign of delamination. The glue that holds the wire onto the Mylar diaphragm is failing. And I didn't hear this at first, but as I listened to more songs, I began to hear it more and more, and it's kind of unfortunate. So, if we keep making our way down... There's 87, really bad. And now we're down here. That's not too bad. And this is textbook Magnepan, folks. This is what happens when the wires start to delaminate. And I'll just show you. I'll prove it to you. This is only happening on the one speaker. If I go to this side, on the left speaker, it's still happening, but it's much quieter. I'll go to the right speaker, much louder. So each speaker is making its funny buzzing noises in its own way. And if I were smart, I would have tested these speakers before I handed the guy the $2,000 cash and seen for myself, so I would have had something to kind of negotiate over. And I'll tell you why I didn't do that. These came up on Facebook Marketplace maybe 3 or 4 months ago. Maybe even more, I don't know. I talked to the guy once he had them listed for months already. He was in a city 6 hours away from me, and you know, if I'm going to go get these, that's 12 hours of my time without stops, and you know, it's a lot, you know. I have a job and I have a life outside of this, so you know, that's a bit, especially to spend $2,000 and not know if you're gonna like what you see. So he has been having a lot of trouble selling them, and one day he messaged me and he said, "Are you still interested?" I said, "Yeah, still thinking about it. It's just a really big drive." And he says, "How about I meet you halfway and I'll throw in a free pair of MG2As?" And I said, "Okay. That's not too bad. That takes my 12 hours of time and turns it into only 6, and I get a free pair of MG2A speakers." But he described these MG2As as having cosmetic issues, and I never asked for a picture. I should have asked for a picture, because when I saw these MG2As, Somebody had painted them completely white. They had the off-white fabric cover, which is not nearly as nice as the black, and they're missing the vertical trim pieces that my MG2s have. And that's one of my favorite parts of the MG2s, is those little strips of wood. Those being missing was kind of a problem for me. So, and I didn't even know if they worked either. And from what I could tell, it was a real toss-up whether they actually worked or not. So I wasn't too thrilled about that, because basically what that becomes is, sure, they're free, but it becomes more work for me and more time and more of my money, and this guy's getting away with getting stuff off his hands and walking away with cash. So I tried to get him down to 1,800, and he was not happy about that. He was actually kind of insulted and pissed off. And, you know, I suppose I would be too if I had taken 6 hours of my time and gone off of my word and said, yes, I'm going to come with cash, and then for me to try to not do that, you know, that's fine. So at the end of the day, I should have had him do the sine wave test like I just did, or I should have gotten one of those 12 to 120 volt adapters for the car and took like my Marantz 2215B or something and just kind of did this real quick outside of the car at the gas station we met at. So it is what it is. But lucky for all you, and lucky for me, that means I get to make a video on rebuilding my dream speakers, and I suppose it shouldn't have happened any other way, right? So there it is. That's my Magnepan MG 3.6R story. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I hope you're looking forward to seeing a full rebuild video on these speakers. Probably won't be for a few months though. They, like I just demonstrated, they work okay enough, and I gotta wait for the right time and wait for the supplies to get in, but I'm definitely gonna order the parts now. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. I suppose some other listening notes I can provide are, I am using my Carver M200T, which is a 120 watt per channel, more vintage, older power amplifier. I think I need more. I think that these would benefit from a little bit more power. Once you get into the high volumes, things start to get a little harsh on the ears, where I feel like if I had something at 200 watts per channel, maybe that would kind of open them up a little bit and we get a little bit more clarity at the higher volumes like I'm looking for. And I still have some experimenting with preamplifiers to do as well. I've just kind of run Marantz receivers as my preamps my whole life, and these might be the thing that makes me look elsewhere for the first time. And of course, it's a Magnepan. The soundstage is incredible. You pull these speakers forward and you center yourself on the couch where the camera is right now, and it's just awesome. I love the immersive experience that these speakers provide for the listener. And I'm just totally geeked out by the technology. You know, 50 years later, still doing a very similar thing. Just the idea of taking a wire and gluing it to plastic and putting strip magnets on it, and it sounding like this is just the coolest freaking thing to me. I love showing these off to people when they visit and think that they're just so awesome. I tried recording another video before this one and it didn't really make much sense to me, but I'll give you the good parts of what I recorded the other day at the end of this one. Trust me, I can explain. No, this is not my new setup, but I do want to tell you how I managed to end up with 3 pairs of 6-foot tall speakers. He described these MG2As as having cosmetic issues. Yeah, that's an understatement. So I had never seen a picture of these until I showed up 3 hours away from me, and the previous owner, not him, had painted them white. And, you know, this is what it's supposed to look like. You're supposed to have this beautiful natural wood finish, but somebody thought it'd be a good idea to just cover that all up and paint it white, which is one of my biggest pet peeves in the world. I really like natural wood finishes, and when people think that paint is going to help it, it really, really bugs me. Oh, is that a Sadie? Sadie, which is your favorite pair? Which Magnepans are your favorite? Sadie loves looking out the window. Yes, she does. Oh, and here's Big Brother. Cat fight, cat fight. Don't get this on camera very often, do we? All right, are we at peace now? Is there peace in the house? Okay. Alright, without further ado, I think it's time to see if these MG2As even work or not. See if there's any buzzing, delamination. Let's find out. Yeah, fun fact, I had to switch lenses on the camera because my room is just not big enough to fit the standard 18mm that I use normally. Alright, let's take a listen. So in here we've got both the tweeter wire and the base wire working. And over here, oh geez, I plugged in the 3.6R. What's wrong with me? Let's try that again. Both tweeter wire and base wires working. Same thing over here. So far I don't hear any rattling. They sound pretty okay. From what searching I've done, at least on YouTube specifically, I have not seen any comprehensive guides for rebuilding this era of Magnepan speaker. Obviously there's a good guide on the MG1, which is the same construction as the MG2s here that I started this channel with, but these more modern Magnepans, I haven't seen too much stuff, so this is a great opportunity for me and the community. So anyways, that's about it. I just wanted to share this exciting news with you that I kind of bought my dream speakers in a way. So that is it. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.